From the very beginning, it was very clear that we didn't want people playing just with StarCraft cards, but with StarCraft decks. We want you to be doing the StarCraft thing with your class.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Cortez, and I am a senior VFX artist on Hearthstone.
And I'm Eric Larson, senior game producer on Hearthstone.
Hello everyone, my name is Joel Landis, and I am the art lead on Hearthstone.
And I'm Leo Robles-Gonzalez, senior game designer on Hearthstone and the set lead for the Heroes of StarCraft Mini-Set. With this new mini-set, there's 3 new factions: Terran, Protoss, and Zerg, each of which has its own distinct play style that kind of dictates the deck that you're going to build. The Terran, they're all about starships, which is the mechanic from Great Dark Beyond, except this time it's going to be Battlecruisers. You're piloting this fleet of Battlecruisers, trying to gun down your opponents. For the Protoss, they're all about getting these gigantic units down as soon as possible. Through the use of psionic powers, you can get them down to playable as early as turn 7 maybe. Last but not least, Zerg is the fastest. They want to swarm down the opponents. They've got a bunch of resources at their disposal. They got Zerglings galore. With the Great Dark Beyond, we're in space in Warcraft, and for this mini set, we're in space in StarCraft. The very first time that this idea was at least pitched to me, our game director pulled me aside and said, all right, I've got a wild idea for something we can do for this mini set. We're in space. What if we went into space in a different IP? I didn't even know how to start thinking about what that could mean, but it was exciting. There was just so much untapped potential of things we've never done before. And I think the whole multi-class system that we had way back when in Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, going back to that and giving it a little bit more of a touch-up, modernizing it a little bit and giving it a fresh coat of paint with the whole different races of StarCraft with Terran, Protoss, and Zerg. It was a blast to work on for design, and I'm sure for everybody else as well. At least I hope.
What I think is interesting is even before that, it started, I think, Joel, right, as a cosmetics idea.
We knew we were going to space with the Great Dark Beyond, and we thought it might be a fun little prelude moving into space to have it be a cosmetic that we would release before the Great Dark Beyond. But it quickly snowballed, to your point of, the passion that we have on team around StarCraft games, and the opportunity to bring it to actual gameplay. I think it really became something that is much bigger, I think, than anything that we've ever done before in terms of mini sets.
I think all 11 decks have something new to the table for each of the class. I can't even pick a favorite. I want to play them all.
Yeah. One of the biggest changes we made in the production schedule is increasing the scope from a typical 38 card mini set to 49. And so that just, required a lot of collaboration kind of across teams. We had to meet with Joel and the art team. We had to talk to sound. We had to talk to the other producers.
We know this is a mini set. It's not necessarily the exact same time frame as a full-on expansion where we have a lot of creative freedom. Where can we kind of utilize our resources the most? Well, for things like Zerg and for the characters like Artanis and all of them, to some degree, they need an effect or some visual that really kind of sells their characters and sells their identities inside of StarCraft. A lot of them have a bunch of additional effects that kind of correlate with what the whole race is all about. For Artanis and stuff like that, we were able to kind of take a lot of those really cool visual effects of the characters kind of spawning in, or him being charged up and stuff, and be able to kind of utilize that across multiple different abilities and characters. And I think because of that, we were able to kind of squeeze out as much of the juice as possible from the VFX side for this set.
I think the 3 factions have their own unique identities. There's something there for everybody to have fun with.
I love to play Protoss. It was my favorite class to play, and I always went airships, but I was always building void rays, carriers, culminating with a mothership to cloak them all. And so I'm super excited to see that come into Hearthstone and get to play with some of those iconic cards that I'm so familiar with from playing StarCraft 2.
The thing I'm looking forward to the most in the mini set is going to be Terran. I love that faction. I've always loved that faction. The illustration that we made for his character skin is just awesome. I think it totally personifies him very well. In addition to that, I'm looking forward to Battlecruisers. I'm looking forward to, to launching as many starships as I possibly can in one launch, and it's really excited for it.
I've always been a fan of tempo decks in Hearthstone, and when you play Kerrigan, the hero card, she kind of comes in super aggressive, and it definitely reflects the play style. These Zerglings that then, at the end of the turn, they give you more Zerg cards, and then her hero powers, she shoots a bunch of missiles at the opponent, and it gets stronger the more Zerglings she has, so you're incentivized to just swarm the board and then send them at your opponent and basically punish them heavily if they don't deal with it.
You know, our Zergling card says battle cry, summon another Zergling, just like felt perfect.
Each unit has so many things about it, so many things that define what a Zergling is, what an Archon is, etc. The Archon is the greatest example where no matter what we did, the Templars have to merge into an Archon.
Yep.
Whatever else happens, that has to happen if we're having those in the mini set. You show someone a Templar, and then they go, oh, obviously, that's what it does. That feeling is so nice after working on this for such a long time.
We needed to do the original designs justice and really pay homage to this iconic brand and the characters that live within it, which meant really doing our research of understanding what, you know, makes these units and these characters so iconic, and then interpreting that through the lens of Hearthstone's visual pillars, reducing the detail, simplifying some of the shapes, and really ramping up the color to make sure that they feel like they're a piece with the whole of Hearthstone.
Yeah. A lot of the visuals and a lot of the designs and everything are just focused on being StarCraft first and foremost. There's one card that I think is a very big exception. It's Grunty, who's a Murloc wearing Terran armor. That card, I think, is a perfect way for Hearthstone to kind of peek through in the StarCraft rather than StarCraft peeking through the Hearthstone. We
definitely tried to bring in not just the iconic units, but also like some of the visuals and UI. So in the VFX, we have that attack move reticle, and it's like pinging the board, bringing him onto the board.
It's not just units that are at your disposal and that you're managing. You've also got structures, buildings. We've got the location card type. In the multi-class shared pools of cards for each faction, there's a location.
Spawning pool is my favorite, for example.
Spawning pool, I mean, it gives you more Zerglings.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with more Zerglings.
StarCraft was very much a more sci-fi kind of futuristic, almost a bit more down-to-earth, gritty, more realism compared to Hearthstone, which is very colorful, bright, it's very animated. There's a lot of whimsical, fun, feel-good moments. For a mini set, we don't usually have as much time to kind of create as much unique visual effects. But then when I talked with Leo, we found out that there were hero cards for each of the factions being used. And we thought, wait, this is a cool opportunity for us to kind of create a lot of sweeping effects. And then we can kind of utilize that for when we're summoning different Protoss units versus different Zerg.
And it all looks so good.
Yeah.
It does.
This is the first mini set that has hero cards, if I'm not mistaken, and signature hero cards for the first time. I think they're the coolest characters in StarCraft.
So one of the challenges that we had was the fact that we had hero cards and hero skins and the same character being represented in different areas of the game. And we really wanted to look at ways of visually differentiating them. One of the solutions that we came up with was basically pulling from different moments in time. You can see that in the Kerrigan art, where we've got her in her standard Zerg Queen look, but we've also got her when she's been reformed in the signature card, still kind of haunted by her history and past with the Zerg behind her.
Something on the VFX side that we did was for the hero skins, they all have a come into play sort of animation that kind of starts at the beginning of the game. And we figured since they were in these different moments in time, a lot of the animation was sort of treated to be them entering into sort of the field. For the kind of more gameplay oriented hero cards, something to kind of help bridge that gap between the cosmetic and the actual gameplay card was we wanted those moments when you play the hero card to feel more action-packed. It kind of is them getting ready for battle. So Artanis shoots out these big energy swords, and then for Kerrigan, she's pouncing onto the field. Jim Raynor, she's shooting off his gun to the side.
Yes.
We really wanted to sell oh, you're not just looking at Jim Raynor anymore. You're actually fighting him now. You have to get ready for battle here.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'm the most proud of is Kerrigan Mythic skin that we made. There's just so much collaboration between every art discipline, 2D, 3D, animation, VFX, all coming together and just riffing on what this thing could be and making it the best thing that it could possibly be.
Yeah, on the VFX front, I'm super proud of a lot of the Protoss effects I made. So being able to play these really cool geometric shapes, so you have these cool hexagons for Artanis and the Protoss whenever they're doing anything, and playing with these really cool sci-fi blues was just a breath of fresh air for working on the VFX.
I mean, huge shout out to everybody from design to engineering, UI to art to VFX to sound. The music's gonna be great, to QA, to marketing, publishing, product, community. It all came together to make this mini set truly special, and I can't wait for you to enjoy it.
It's been a real labor of love, and I really hope that people get to see that. So, yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.